Know the name of the person who was killed yesterday while trying to walk across or run across the Crosstown Expressway. This happened around 5 o'clock last evening near the Agnes exit. When police arrived, they found 30-year-old Charles Woodward dead in the roadway. Investigators say Woodward and another man were walking across. They say they made it to the middle concrete barrier and then tried to go all the way across the highway, but decided the traffic was too heavy and they turned around, and that's when a van struck one of them. Police say the driver did stop to render aid and therefore will not be facing any charges.